I never thought I'd come home to find two strangers already standing in my living room like they owned the damn place. Khaki uniforms, scuffed steel-toed boots, clipboards like weapons, and one of them was casually tapping on my fireplace mantle like he was looking for termites or something. The other gave me a grin, but not the kind you return. It was smug, like he knew something I didn't. First instinct? Rage. Second instinct? Confusion. Third, well, that one came when I spotted Sarah, my wife, just sitting there at the kitchen table. Calm as ever. Coffee in hand. Arms folded. She didn't say a word, just looked at me with this unreadable, steady stare. Her badge was hanging off the back of the chair like a silent warning. That's when it hit me. This wasn't some normal inspection. Afternoon, Mr. Walker, one of the men finally said, voice smooth, rehearsed. Safety inspection. Mandatory. Mandatory my ass. They weren't city. They weren't fire. And I know what a real inspection looks like. This wasn't it. But outside, slapped on my front door like a public scarlet letter, was a big red sticker screaming violation. Hazard. Immediate compliance required. Anyone walking by would think we had live wires sparking through the carpet. I clenched my fists. I wanted to throw them out hard. But Sarah hadn't moved. That calm on her face wasn't apathy. It was control, which told me, without words, that something bigger was at play. The taller one leaned down, pin scratching on a form like he was already billing me. Repairs will run about $5 grand. We'll need to start immediately. Then he smiled. Predatory, hungry. That's when I noticed it. The faint blink of a hidden camera on the bookshelf. Hours. Watching. Recording. And in that moment, everything shifted. Because these guys weren't just scamming anyone. They were trying to run game on the one woman in the entire damn county who could shut them down from every direction. Sarah wasn't just my wife. She was the fire chief and the sheriff, and these idiots had no idea. Thing is, none of this started with a bang. It started quiet. Almost too quiet. That Tuesday morning, I stepped out onto our porch with my usual bitter coffee, watching the sun roll over rooftops and light up the dew on freshly cut grass. The neighborhood looked exactly how it always did, safe, settled, suburban. For a second, I let myself believe it, until I saw the paper on the door, bold red. Block letters. Warning, fire hazard. Inspection required. I didn't even need to read the rest. I yanked it down, glue still clinging to my fingers like a curse. Inside, Sarah was already at the table. She looked up when I muttered a curse and unfolded the paper in front of her. They can't do this, she said, voice low, serious. No warning, no notice, nothing. I added. But even as I spoke, I saw it in her face. This wasn't just weird. It was calculated. I started walking the house. Outlets? Safe. Wiring? New. Smoke detectors chirped like obedient little soldiers. Nothing out of place. Then I looked outside, and my stomach dropped. It wasn't just us. Red notices were slapped across nearly every door on our street. Like a plague. Every home, branded. I bolted across the street to Tom's place. He was already tearing his down, grumbling like a bear poked before coffee. Can you believe this crap? He barked. Said my wiring's faulty. Just replaced it last summer. I held up my notice. Same line. And that's when we saw her, Linda Cross, president of the HOA. The queen of controlled chaos. Striding down the sidewalk in a power blazer and tight smile, clipboard in hand like she was issuing royal decrees. Just a routine safety measure, gentlemen, she called out. All sugar. Nothing to worry about. As long as everyone cooperates. That word, cooperates, it clanged in my ears like a warning bell. And from the way Sarah was already standing in the hallway when I got back, arms crossed, eyes hard, she felt it too. They're setting something up, she said. Yeah, I nodded. But what? Now, Linda wasn't new to us. Everyone in the neighborhood had a Linda Cross story. Elected HOA president 10 years running, unopposed. Some say it's because she's organized. Others, because no one's brave or stupid enough to run against her. She showed up at our door that morning with that same clipboard clutched to her chest like armor. Sharp knock, 3 times. Mr. Walker, she said, stepping into my house without waiting. I see you've received the notice. She looked past me like she had the right to, scanning my living room. I didn't even hide the disgust in my voice. You want to explain this? I said, holding up the paper. Routine protocol, she chirped. Specialists are being sent to each home. Concerns have been raised. By who? Our house is up to code. You know that. She tilted her head like I was a toddler refusing medicine. Perhaps, but compliance is non-negotiable. Behind me, Sarah stepped forward. Her badge was clipped openly now. Linda saw it. Her eyes narrowed. Barely, but it was enough. The mask cracked. Mrs. Walker, she said smoothly. Always a pleasure. Sarah didn't say a word. Didn't have to. Linda leaned in slightly, voice softer. It'd be unfortunate if this escalated. There it was. The threat. Dressed up in smiles. By the next morning, the contractors were out. Khaki uniforms, clipboards, boots. Going house to house like tax collectors. At first, people resisted. Tom shouted. Jenny stood her ground. But then came the fines. The threats. $500 a day for non-compliance. One by one. They folded, and Linda? She set up a folding table at the end of the cul-de-sac like she was running a DMV booth. People lined up with checks in hand. She greeted them with that same thin-lipped smile. Thank you for your cooperation. It was sickening. Ingenious. Tribute, I muttered to Sarah. This isn't safety, it's tribute. She didn't disagree. But her eyes were locked on Linda. Watching. Waiting. Next morning, Linda came to our door again. This time with her contractors. Inspection time, she said lightly. That's when Sarah stepped forward. Before you come in, I'll need to see your permits. Everything stopped. Linda blinked. Excuse me. You heard me, Sarah said, steady. Authorization. Paperwork. License numbers. Let's see them. The contractors shifted, uncomfortable. One looked at the other. Linda's expression tightened. Then she laughed. Hi, fake. Let's not make this dramatic, she said. We're neighbors. Sarah didn't flinch. That's exactly why I'm asking. Silence. Then Linda clicked her pen closed. Very well, she said coolly. We'll return when you're ready to be reasonable. They left, but the crack had widened. That night, we reviewed the footage. Every threat, every demand, every scam, captured on tape. And then came the knock. It was Mrs. Daniels. Sweet, quiet widow 2 houses down. I saw what your wife did, she whispered. She froze. From her purse, she pulled a notebook, pages of dates, amounts, copies of checks. She's been bleeding me dry since Harold passed, she said. But I kept everything. Just in case. I looked at that notebook like it was pure gold, and you know what? It was. The next day, the neighborhood still looked quiet, but underneath it all, something had shifted. Cracks forming in the walls of Linda's empire. You could feel it. Whispers on porches. Notices quietly pulled down. People starting to look each other in the eye again. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person demanding proof to remind the rest, we're not powerless. And sometimes, queens fall hardest when they start to believe their own throne is untouchable. So tell me. What would you do? Fold or fight? Backhand index pointing down. Sound off in the comments. Should neighbors have pushed back sooner? Is this just another example of power gone unchecked? Or something deeper? Let's talk about it.